the Rogue. Now you might be asking yourself, Brooke, you're almost done with this series. How do you plan on reworking the Rogue? You've already pretty much given every single other class that is a martial ability to use maneuver-like features. How are you going to change the Rogue? How are you going to make it different than someone like the Fighter or the Barbarian? Well, I'll tell you, dear viewer, it's very simple. They're going to get their resource in a different way. So Rogue, firstly, is still going to be sort of, for lack of a better term, the skill monkey. They're going to have the most skills available to them and the most skills that they're going to be able to become trained or proficient in. But in addition to this, they're going to have the expertise feature, obviously. But finally, how am I going to rework their system in order to give them maneuvers that is different enough from the 1 D&D version? Combos. Combos? What do you mean? Like the quarter pounder with cheese combo? No, not those kinds of combos. Combo strings. So, how it's going to work, or how I envision it working, is the following. The Rogue gets into combat, and they have a combo meter of 0. And every time they land an attack or a power, such as their sneak attack, they get a combo upgrade. So, their combo meter goes up. And their combo meter is going to be structured in a similar way as it is in things like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, where you have tiers, and every single tier that you upgrade into, whenever you get into your combo, those are the tiers of powers that you can use. So, for instance, a first level rogue will have access to combos from their at-will powers, like sneak attack and stuff like that. But once they get to like combo level D, then they can use some of their first level combos, and D will be very simple. If you get a combo of 1, D, and if you get a combo of like 2 or 3, you get combo C, and it just keeps going up. So the more attacks and more powers that you land, the higher your combo builds, until you get all the way up to like S tier or double S tier. And double S tier or S tier, whatever the highest tier will be, that is where their most powerful effects will be. These will be like the game enders. These are the final hits, the big strikes, the ones that finally finish off the really tanky, tough opponent. And a combo will continue to grow, and you never lose combo. You never lose combo by not attacking, but you do lose combo if you get hit, as it's considered like an interrupt to your combo. So if you're flourishing with, 2 short swords as a rogue, and you're doing like these really cool like twist moves, overhead slashes, and across the body, and then all of a sudden the enemy uses like a dirty tactic to like sweep their mace up and glass jaw you, that'd be considered like an interrupt to your combo, so you have to start it back up again. Granted, it won't completely reset your combo, but it will lower you by a certain amount. So if it's just a regular hit, it'll lower your combo by 1, and if it's a critical hit, it'll lower it by 2, maybe 3, and if you are bloodied, then it will lower it by double the amount. So if it's just a regular hit, it will lower your combo by more, and if it's a crit, it'll basically all but wipe you. As it is a lot harder to keep up a combo when you're running on fumes. And a combo is reset at the end of I actually haven't figured out how they're going to be reset, because on the one hand, if a combo is built, and then once it's built, you lose it as soon as the next combat encounter starts, you are essentially starting weak and then getting stronger. Granted, your weak is baseline for everybody else, but the fact that you're starting weaker than everybody else, when the fighter can basically use their most powerful move right off the bat, and you have to wait several turns for it to effectively get to that point, it's a bit sad. So, in terms of how I'm going to work the combo system, it's a bit tricky. But that's generally what I'm doing. It's going to be the rogue builds a combo, and then once they've reached a combo, they can't lose it unless they take damage. Which, due to the fact that they're a striker, and their primary ways of dealing damage is either in melee with the ability to get out if necessary, or through ranged weapon attacks, it is very easy for rogues to build their combos. But in addition, the rogue will have a lot of maneuverability, so they will keep things like their uncanny dodge, their cunning action, whatever. I think that's the one that has the 3 actions that you can take as a bonus action. Their uncanny dodge, their evasion. I might even give them the mobility, whatever it's called, the mobile feat, as like a class feature, so they can easily get out of melee, since they are squishier than most other strikers, as they're going to be primarily based around dexterity, as they'll only have access to weapons that use dexterity, such as ranged weapon attacks and lighter weapons. So the fact that they're going to be based around dexterity, their armor isn't going to be as high, because their armor is going to be weaker because they can only use light armor. But even then, the light armor is still going to be pretty good and be somewhat comparable to the lower level the lower tier heavy armor, if you have your dexterity maxed out, which as a rogue in this sense you would not really want to do, but it's good. It's okay, I guess. And rogues are going to be very good at getting into melee, out of melee, and they're going to be really adept at the hit and run style of play, where they hit you and then they just hide. So that entire aspect of them is still going to be prevalent. It's going to be toned down, so their movement is going to be more unpredictable. So I think their unique thing when it comes to mobility, compared to the other martial classes, is that they're going to get an ability that basically turns their movement action into what movement is currently in 5th edition. So their movement in my system, I'll get to that, I'll explain more later, but movement is an entire action, and you have to complete your movement in order to do anything else. You can't stop 15 feet, then take your standard action, and then move the rest of your 15 feet. Once you are done moving, that is all your movement for the turn. But rogues, I think, will have a very interesting way of being stealthy, nimble assassins if they keep that kind of mobility aspect that 5th edition has. But it will be like a later ability, maybe in the like past level 6, somewhere around that area, when they reach their first tier of play. But mostly the rogue, that's all that really needs to be changed, other than the fact that a lot of their abilities are passive. I'm going to add more active aspects of them. But most of their abilities are passive, and their capstone's really bad, obviously. So giving them a more useful and intuitive engaging progression of action usage is going to be my main priority. And their maneuvers obviously are going to be called tricks, and since it doesn't expend anything, they are going to be limited to one combo trick per turn. Maybe I might change that later. But basically what defines a combo trick is that it is a maneuver that requires you to be at a certain combo rank in order to use. So your at-wills don't have access, do not count as combo tricks, because they are the ones that build the combo and don't require you to be at a certain combo to use. And I think in the same vein as the Warlock, the Rogue is going to have an ability that allows them to have one additional at-will power from their class. But I'm not too sure on that, because I think that would overstep the boundaries of the human race, because it will do something similar. So I think if you're playing a human rogue, you would end up having almost half, if not more, of your at-will powers at level 1, which it is a bit much. So maybe rogues will just keep their normal 2 at-wills, and then they can become a human and get more. But I digress. That's basically all I'm changing with the Rogue, just giving them maneuvers, changing how their system works, and giving them more active abilities than they currently do in 5th edition. Changing a lot of their passive features into more active ones, giving them more interesting active features nonetheless. But I will definitely get into that once I get into the major basic systems of how my new system works.